Welcome back to the GSA How-To Video Library. In this video, we're going to look at the idea of adding and subtracting fractions with unlike denominators. So for this skill, we have two strategies that we're going to look at today. One strategy where you can change one of the fractions in the equation, and the other strategy how you can change both. So for our first strategy, we have 1/2 plus 4/6. So when you look at the denominators, when it comes to adding and subtracting fractions, you want the denominators to be the same number. So here we have a 2 and we have a 6. In order to have them be the same, what I can do is I know that 2 is a factor of 6, so I can make an equivalent fraction to 1/2 that equals a 6. So here I would know 2 times 3 equals 6. And I know by the rule of fractions that anything that I do to the denominator, I also have to do to the numerator. So I'm going to multiply 1 times 3, and it's going to give me 3/6. So now my fraction is 3/6. Now that this fraction and this one have the same denominator, I'm going to replace 1/2 with 3/6. And now I can add numerators straight across. So 3 plus 4 is 7, and my denominator stays the same. Once you get this solution, 7/6 is an improper fraction, and you can't leave it that way. So now we're going to make this into a mixed number. A mixed number is a fraction that also has a whole number. So 7/6 equals 1 and 1/6. So for this strategy, you change one of the fractions that are in the equation. For this one, we changed 1/2 into an equivalent that had a 6, because that is what the denominator for our second fraction was. We added them together. You add straight across, and then you keep your same denominator. And we had our solution of 7/6. 7/6 is an improper fraction, meaning that the numerator is larger than the denominator. So we turned it into a mixed number where we have a whole number and a fraction. So this is one strategy where you can change only one of the fractions. For this to work, you have to have denominators that are multiples of each other or factors of each other. So because 2 is a factor of 6, I could make an equivalent fraction that would equal 6. In our second strategy, where you change both, 7/8 and 2/5 are the two that we're going to look at. 8ths and 5ths are not factors of each other, nor are they multiples. By that I mean, there is nothing I can multiply by 8 and get a product of 5. There is nothing I can multiply by 5 and get a product of 8. So their least common denominator is going to be when you multiply them together in this case. So, to change both, there are two ways you can do this. One way is 7/8 is what we're going to multiply the other side by. So 7/8 is going to be multiplied by this denominator, so 5. 2/5 is going to be multiplied by this denominator, which is 8. And this is going to give us 35/40 minus 16/40. And then because your denominators are the same, you're going to subtract straight across. 35 minus 16 is 19/40. 19/40. You cannot reduce 19/40 because 19 is a prime number, so this is as low as it will go. This is the smallest form of this fraction. However, there is one more strategy, or another way that you could work this equation out. So we're going to use the same fractions, but we're going to do the steps just a little differently. So 7/8 minus 2/5. We need a common denominator, and we already know that our common denominator is going to happen when I multiply 8 and 5. So now my denominator is going to be 40. Okay? Whenever I go to multiply, however, to get my new numerators, typically in this strategy, I'm going to multiply 7 and 5, and I'm going to multiply 2 and 8. This commonly is called the butterfly method. So what I do is I multiply 7 and 5, and this is 35. So I put my little 35, bring up my equation symbol. 8 times 2 is 16 equals 19/40. Either process works. This is a more concise way of writing it out, where you just cross multiply. This is typically what we are seeing in other types of methods. This is if you need to draw it out, you want to show your work, you want to show that you're multiplying both fractions. So this is multiplying the fractions as a whole, so multiplying 7/8 and multiplying 2/5. This is multiplying to get my denominator and multiplying to get my new numerator. So either way, you're going to end up having to change at least one of the fractions to get a common denominator to be able to add fractions that do not have common denominators. I hope this is helpful. Rewatch if you need to, and we will see you next time.